Hello everyone. I think this is kind of a little bit of an odd video, I would say, but I just kind of figured I probably should just share like some short videos like this more often, I guess. I don't know. I mean, if you guys like it, I probably would try to do more like little small bits like this and in like a much shorter video kind of thing. I mean, might not be that short after all, but we'll see. But anyways, this video I'm just going to just share you there are actually multiple ways for you to refresh your animations in GBF. There are a few ways because I think a lot of people have been doing this for a while now, because you know animations is a pain in the ass to watch through, especially if you are going through a specific raid hundreds if not thousands of times already and you're sick and tired of seeing everything, unless you're full autoing, right? If you're bursting, you probably want to refresh your animations for the most part, right? So there are a few ways, right? There are 3 methods to this. Maybe there's more, I don't know. There are definitely 3 ways at least. So one is like the standard just the reloading part. Okay, I think I'm just better off just demonstrating it for you guys. So okay, I know Guild Wars is just over technically, but I can just show it to you guys. The very first one that everybody knows always is obviously just pressing the reload button or pressing F5 on your keyboard, because it's a browser game, right? So browsers by default F5 is the refresh button. So it's like you press this and then you refresh, right? That's the most standard way. But there is the other 2 ways. Are technically in a way better. It can be a little bit glitchy at times because it really just depends on how low your ping is, or it's actually just mostly your ping. If your ping is really high, it might work a whole lot differently. So the other one is the one that I use very often in like standard raids, which is pressing the back button. Yeah, this back button here. If not, you can just put it on your mouse. I think it's standard. If you have mouse 4 and 5 on your mouse, usually you can just press back because it's a browser, right? That's the standard one. So usually you just press there and then you press back and then you will get there. But you see, this is one of those things I was referring to. So you can kind of glitch out like that, where it fucks up like that, right? There are times where if you press it too early, that technically can happen. But it really just depends on how high your ping is, I noticed. Because you know, like if your ping is relatively high, the game kind of detects as if you're doing it a little bit too quick or some sort, you know. So if you're doing it, see, like I just skipped there with using the Zenithra summon. If you don't do it too quickly, it is actually a whole lot better, right? So yeah, that's probably another one that I use very often in raids. But I noticed that there are specific parameters for this particular back button one. If like, for example, if you go through like a raid finder and you go to another raid, and then you decided to go back into if you want to go back to your raid list, you can actually kind of glitch it out by pressing the back button. Because sometimes instead of going back to this screen, you're going back to the raid list instead of the screen. So sometimes if that happens, right, usually when that happens, what you can do, this is the third and other method that I use very often in the likes of Sandbox most of the time, because it really works very well there, is the fact that you press back then forward. It somehow is like it loads a whole lot faster. See? That I just did that. I just press back and forward because, you know, like my mouse here, I have like I'm using the def adder shit, and then I have the mouse 4 and 5 here, so it's kind of acts as like my back and front, but the forward button. So I just attack and then I just quickly press the back and forward. But if I recall correctly, this once again is all really highly depends on your ping. So you just press like that and then. So if you notice, a lot of times I use either the back button or the back forward button method a whole lot more often, because I'm not sure if the video, probably you can see it, is that there are quite a bit of a difference when it comes to like the loading screen. So if I press my standard refresh again, I attack and refresh, right? You can see like it's a little bit slower, right, compared to like back and forward. Okay, so that's the refresh button. But if I were to press back and forward, see, it's like a little bit bad because I pressed it too quickly, so it's not really a good thing. Let's do that again. So I press back and forward. Yeah, you see, it's a little bit better, right? It's a little bit better, but you know, stuff like this you may really not notice like in the long run kind of thing, but you know, you may not notice in the long run, but honestly, if it's going through for a really long time, you've been doing this for hours till end, this can actually accumulate in a lot of time, because you know, like, it's just like maybe you're losing out like maybe a minor millisecond, and then if you keep doing it, right, it accumulates to like a minute, maybe eventually you just lose out 5 to 10 minutes worth of your time and shit, which can be a bit bad, especially when you're trying to like min-max your so-called farming time, right? You know, especially when you're in burst farming bars and all that stuff. So usually that's technically how it is. And also, so like, I probably should show a little bit in Akaram Sandbox, the whole back and forward button, because it's very apparent in Sandbox, to be honest. So like, for example, I just go to like the simple one here. So if I were to just go if I just to press refresh, right, you can see like there's a bit of a difference in terms of like the speed. So if I just attack and press the refresh, so this is the time it takes, right? And also another thing I probably should point out, the back button doesn't really work too well in Sandbox, because for some reason, I'm not sure why, but when you load up Sandbox, I'm not sure you notice that the chat button here, you see this chat bubble here? When you refresh, this thing is here, right? You know, it's really based on where you place or whatever. But if you press the back button, right, it's actually a whole lot slower for Sandbox, because there are some other game modes that actually does this as well, where the chat bubble here, it has to dim out and then disappear before it actually refreshes the skin. So like, let's see if I can demonstrate it now. So if I attack and then I press the back button, you see that shit? You notice that? There's like the very slow, like the chat bubbles like, boop, then only you decided to refresh the thing. So that's why a lot of times when it comes to like Sandbox, to me it's a lot more handy to actually use the back and forward button rather than the standard reload button. So like, for example, I just do this. I just attack back and forward, and then it just goes back here. And you could also do it again if you want to quickly go back to the Akaram main menu, because for some reason it technically does that. So if you back and forward again, it goes back here. So it's kind of handy, especially if you want to try to speed farm your Sandbox or whatnot, your other stuff, because I think the back and forward button can be a little bit really good when it comes to like trying to refresh your stuff. But in all opinion, most of the time I only use this method in Sandbox, if not sometimes only in like the standard raid stuff. But a lot of times when it comes to raid, I'm only using the back button. So like there are a few ways to refresh. So I think I just kind of want to put it out there. Like, I'm trying to keep it as short as possible. I don't think it's gonna hopefully it's not that long. I'm probably gonna try to cut it here and there. But yeah, anyways, if you find this kind of like video format helpful anyway, mention in the comments. And yeah, give me a like and subscribe and all that good stuff that you guys usually do on YouTube. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace!